Uh, Good afternoon, students. It's my first class for the month of November. So great to be back to the classroom. Hope you're all doing well. Uh, Let me just get confirmation of my voice on YouTube and then I will begin. I can see the stream is beginning, so I think on YouTube and then I will begin. Right, right. I think I can hear myself. Good afternoon once again. So as I said, it's my first class of this month. So great to be back, and I'm sure you guys are all were also looking forward to it. I can see the stream is beginning, so I think I haven't taken the newspaper sessions in quite a while now, so will be great to continue with them. This is in fact a very critical month because in the we are in the last month before the real CAT exam, which of course you know is scheduled for 29th of this month, so just a couple of weeks away. In fact, I would say even less than that, because we can safely deduct a few days which are for Diwali, when most of you would not be much into studies, because obviously that's a time of celebrations, although of course you all need to be safe this year the context is a little different. So on that note, let us begin with the class. Welcome everybody to Unacademy's YouTube platform, and this is our channel, Crack All Management Exams. So this is the channel, Let's Crack Management Exams. So we are India's largest learning platform. We are present in across the different academic streams, including school exams, school studies, but also entrance exams such as CAT, and NEET, JEE, Bank PO, SSC, and of course, I believe we've also started with the CLAT program recently. So all of this really adds up to a great portfolio of subjects. Now, you know, Unacademy is also one of the co-sponsors of the IPL. Gives me great pride to inform you guys that. This is a brief profile of myself. My name is Aritro Dasgupta, and I've been teaching at Unacademy for more than for about 4 months now. So this is a brief about myself. I'm an MBA in Forest Management from the Indian Institute of Forest Management, which is in Bhopal. It's part of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. My specialization was in the area of conservation and livelihoods, which is actually core forestry, right? I've had more than a decade's work experience in the areas of teaching, training, strategy consulting, executive recruitment, and in content writing. My experience has been mostly in India, but I've also worked in the Middle East and been published in the US. Last 5.5 years, I've been extensively involved with the coaching segment, and during this period, I have attained a lot of success in this field. So one of the ways to do that is has been success in the entrance exam. So students from CAT, CLAT, DUJAT, etc., they have been my students. So the toppers of these examinations. Gives me great pride to inform you. So what all you will receive as part of the Unacademy platform, let me show you. Our course content is very well structured. You know, we have the head office in Bengaluru, so वहीं पे पूरा main pedagogy जो है वो prepare होता है. But of course, we individual faculty give further credence to the same. Once you enroll, you receive unlimited access. I never tire of saying that Unacademy is like the Netflix of education. You get n number of courses all at one go the moment you enroll. Uh, we also have daily live classes, so to show you guys how it works, this is our channel, Crack Management Exams. तो इसको आप click करेंगे तो you will actually get to see sort of several classes within that, or all the other class courses as well, which my faculty colleagues are taking. We also have live tests and quizzes, so there are a couple of different variations in that. One is you get a full length mock, which of course covers the entire syllabus. Then we also have something called scholarship test. This is for those who are not yet enrolled with an academy. The third is we also have live quizzes on the spot. This live quiz can be of two types. एक तो unacademy.com में होता है, वो आप लोग प्लीज चेक कीजिए. It is a lot of fun. The other is here. So let me just show it to you how this works. So राइट हैंड साइड में आपको दिखेगा एक लाइव चैट विंडो है, तो उसको आप क्लिक करेंगे तो आपको बहुत सारे क्लासेस एक्सेस होंगी। तो आप इस पे कुछ भी अपने क्वेश्चंस हो, अपने डाउट्स हो, वो पूछ सकते हो, और मैं भी आप लोगों से पीरियोडिकली क्विजेस लेता रहूंगा। Right, this is a list of some of our star educators. So you can take a look at the number of followers they all have, the watch minutes, etc. Right, just take a look once. That'll give you a very good idea on the quality that is with us. Right, I'm sure you've gone through this. You can also take a look at the watch minutes and the followers. You can see how extremely well qualified all these teachers are. This is a list of four more trainers, but more importantly, I also wanted to show you guys how you can how you receive the notifications for the different classes. This is how you receive notifications for the different batches. So please take a look at this as well. All right, so there are two kinds of batches which can be formed. One is batches with an individual educator on one subject, as you can see at the bottom, verbal classes. The other is for the entire course, which obviously includes a number of trainers within that. So there's a schedule that works very well for you guys, because obviously even if you miss a session, you can always look at recordings. That's a massive advantage of our course. There is also no language barrier, because we've always believed that language should be a communicator, it should be a bridge and not something to divide people. So we are present in 16 different languages, and of course you guys can learn anytime, anywhere. That's a big advantage. All you need is the devices, and in fact my subject is very flexible, because it's available, it's something where uh, shall we put it, like you don't have very strict calculations, so that is why you can actually watch these sessions anytime. Just plug in the device and you can. I told you how you can interact with the educator to get your doubts solved on the right hand side of the page. We also have live polls. Now this works very well on unacademy.com, so I'm going to start my classes for this month on unacademy.com very soon, so do watch out for those sessions as well. Meanwhile, there are live tests and quizzes, I told you, and उसमें आपको एक detailed report and analysis मिलेगा एक component का, तो आपको पता चलेगा how exactly you must prepare for the classes. Meanwhile, there are detailed PDFs and learning material as well, which you will receive. So this is something which today is the newspaper session. I don't know how much is, because the newspaper itself is the PDF. But on other days, this works very well, because you can actually go through the recordings, and especially on unacademy.com, you can download very easily. This probably is the most important slide so far, and I want to you guys to spend a bit of time on this. मेरा कोड mentioned है bottom में AD09, तो इसको आप लोग यूज करेंगे तो आपको फ्लैट 10% ऑफ मिलेगा। जैसा आप देख सकते हैं, हर एक में 10% ऑफ, दोनों साइड में एक ही चीज लिखा है, मगर एम्फोसिस अलग चीजों पे है। तो एक बार आप पढ़ लीजिए, तो इससे आपको पता चलेगा हाउ एग्जैक्टली टू पे एंड व्हाट विल बी अ गुड डील looking into your circumstances, look into your requirements. So do take a look, and then I will discuss this with you. Right. I hope you have gone through this. And the one thing I'm sure you have all noticed is that the longer term course you take, it is much better on a financial basis because you end up paying less on a per capita, per month basis. So go ahead, join the 24-month course because that will be relevant. But if not, at least go for 12 months, which is 1 year, because you can see the pricing, it is much more value for money in that sense. Right, so I have provided you guys something of an introduction to Unacademy. Now I will go ahead to the newspaper session. So I'm gonna begin today's session. I'll just fetch the newspaper right now. Today is the fifth, but this is actually yesterday's newspaper which I'm analyzing. So I'm gonna change the date here. I think on the spot correction is a good thing rather than, revel in a mistake you've made. So let me just fetch the newspaper. So this is the newspaper which I'm doing, The Hindu, your favorite newspaper for entrance exams. Today I'm doing yesterday's paper. From tomorrow we'll be live once again because tomorrow I'll be doing today's and tomorrow's newspaper, both the days. Right. So let us just start. So first of all, um, let's take a look. Yeah, so the first topic which the newspaper talks about is about the vaccination. I think you guys are all aware there are a couple of vaccine candidates on board now. One of them is the Russian origin one known as Sputnik 5. We also have one by Bharat Biotech called Covaxin. We also have the Covishield being developed jointly by the AstraZeneca company, the Oxford University, and the Serum Institute of India. We also have Zykov by Zydus Cadila. There are some versions abroad by the likes of Gilead, by Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson and Johnson. There are about a couple in China. So there are about a dozen trials which are at the phase 3 level. Phase 3 is when you have the extensive trials. So there is optimism that over the next 6 months we should come up with a proper. We, when I'm saying we, I mean all human beings together, right? So globally there is this thing move taking place, and this is something that WHO is emphasizing on, that there should be nothing of vaccine nationalism. Vaccine nationalism का मतलब है कि जहाँ पे I'm not saying nationalization मतलब government acquires it for cheaper distribution to its own people. So that is fine. I'm talking of nationalism where a country hoards the benefits to itself, denying another country or most of the other countries, right? So that is something that the WHO is constantly reiterating itself against. So that is on the global side. But even within India, let's assume for a while that we do get the right vaccine within our country, but then different states cannot have their own policies. It has to be a centralized policy. Couple of states recently and couple of political leaders from different sides of the divide, they have spoken out about how a certain state would be given a benefit. So the people have been speaking about their own state. That is not something which is going to take place. The health ministry has confirmed the same, that there should be a centralized planning which will be run by the health ministry. The health secretary, Mr. Rajesh Bhushan, health secretary is the top bureaucrat within the health ministry. So he has pretty much asserted that this is how it's going to take place. So there will not be different state policies. The vaccine distribution will be conducted centrally. Uh, there is also a report from down south in Tamil Nadu, and so I think you are aware Tamil Nadu was the site of Rajiv Gandhi, the former Prime Minister of India, his assassination in 1991, just before the elections that year, during the election campaign, in fact. So um, there are a couple of groups that have been, there's a couple of people who have been incarcerated within the prison since then. There's the MDMA, or the Multidisciplinary Monetary Agency. Its investigation has been looking into this thing. So there are two people who are still lodged in the jails. One is Mr. AG Perarivalan, the other is Miss S. Nalini. They are both serving their life imprisonment. The center, however, has ruled, the Supreme Court, in fact, has ruled that the governor of the state of Tamil Nadu, whoever is the governor at that time, can decide in case some of these convicts' pleas could be taken into consideration, and some of them could be maybe, their imprisonment could be reduced, or they could be released on parole for some time. Anything that decision is not something which has yet been taken, but the decision has been taken that the governor can decide. New Delhi saw the COVID count cross 6,000 for the first time day before yesterday on Tuesday. For the first time, it crossing 6,000. Meanwhile, it was also the coldest day this season as the mercury hit 10 degrees Celsius on Tuesday, which is actually the coldest this season. The IMD, or the Indian Meteorological Department, might declare or might officially declare a cold wave as a result. A day before was also an extremely important day when it comes to elections worldwide. I think you know which country I'm talking about. I'll come to that country in a while, but before that, let's talk a little closer to home. Within India, there were lots of elections due. It was the second phase of the Bihar election on the 3rd of November. 7th November will see the third and final phase, while 10th of November results will be declared. And in India, of course, result declaration is prompt, right? The day also saw more than 50 by-elections, 55 of, I think 54 or 55 by-elections to assembly seats. By-elections to assembly seats are held um, when a seat has been vacated due to several reasons. Maybe a person has been disqualified, or somebody has passed away, or somebody received an MP ticket, became an MP in the Lok Sabha, or maybe there was even a Rajya Sabha polling where somebody got into the Rajya Sabha. There could be defections, which is why the seat got cancelled. There could be multiple reasons. So, in fact, more than 60 bypolls were scheduled. 65 of them, 66 of them, 65 assembly bypolls and one parliamentary bypoll in the seat of Valmiki Nagar, held formerly by the JDU in Bihar. Out of these, a couple of seats in the states of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, and I think Assam or Puducherry, these have been cancelled. These bypolls will not be held. The reason is pretty practical right now due to the COVID concerns. Since these five states will go to elections anyway within the next 6 months, so the election commission decided that let us keep these seats vacant for the next 6 months. Let us not risk more congregations, because it's a matter of just 6 months. Next year, these five states go to the polls: West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Puducherry. So these seats, no bypolls were held. Out of the other 55 odd, some of them were held on the third. There are some remaining on the seventh. I think notably Manipur is a state which has a lot of vacancies, and that will take place on the seventh. But on the third, the most significant bypolls were in Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh's bypolls are almost like a full-fledged election, because it is for 28 MLAs, so about half or little more of the entire number of the bypolls are in the state of Madhya Pradesh alone. So why do we have? What is the significance of these? Most of these, I think, barring one, all the others were former Congress MLAs. Congress MLAs who defected, mostly all of them, to the BJP, which is why the seats got cancelled, because the 10th schedule in the Indian constitution is the anti-defection law. So the moment a person leaves while in power, that seat gets cancelled unless there is a two-third defection simultaneously. So since that did not happen, bypolls were necessitated. Congress held power for about 15 months in Madhya Pradesh after 15 years of BJP being in power. But since the end of March, BJP has once again been in power. But these were all former Congress seats, so that's why the competition is expected to be really strong. So let us see. BJP requires only to win only 9 of the remaining 28 seats in order to claim complete majority. Congress, though, will need to win all 28, or get at least, say, another 2021, so that they can rely on some of the others to support them. Right? Besides the Congress and the BJP, the BSP also has 2 seats. The Samajwadi Party has one, and there are 4 independent MLAs as well. So Madhya Pradesh saw a staggering 68% voter turnout, which was extremely positive, especially in the COVID situation. Bihar's third phase election saw a 54% turnout, which is roughly similar to what was at the phase one as well as in the last election and during this period. There were bypolls also held in other states, 8 seats in Gujarat. Again, similar case to Madhya Pradesh. All were former Congress MLAs who defected to the BJP. In Chhattisgarh, I think there are 2 seats. Haryana, there's one in the constituency of Baroda in Sonipat district. Jharkhand has two. One of them a former Congress seat. The other is a former seat of the chief minister. The chief minister actually contested on 2 seats. So as a rule, you cannot keep more than one seat for more than 6 months. So that is why he gave up one of those seats. So that will be of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. So that is one of those. Karnataka, I think, has two. Nagaland, Odisha, Telangana also have a couple. Uttar Pradesh has 7 seats significantly. Uttar Pradesh saw 53.71% turnout. Telangana saw the highest at 82. Nagaland saw the highest at 88.14. Telangana at 82%. Odisha at 69%. 57% in Karnataka. Jharkhand saw 62.5. There was a 68% turnout in Haryana. Sorry, 58.66. Uh, yes, sorry, 68. 58.66 in Gujarat. Chhattisgarh saw 77.25%. So those are the figures as per the Election Commission of India. The Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Sri Manoj Sinha, he has been in this post for the last couple of months, and we've discussed about his powers and his duties, also the unique position of the LG in the Union Territory. So he has spoken out. There were a lot of fears recently, and some of the local parties like the PDP and the NC, they had complained about the new land laws. Which will not be able to safeguard locals' rights. However, Mr. Sinha has reiterated that the local people will not have any trouble because this is only for non-agricultural land. Non-agricultural land can now be acquired by non-domiciled people of that state, and this is to improve the industrial activity in the state. This is akin to the rights in fellow hill states in North India, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand as well. They have very similar laws where rural agricultural land is protected for the local residents, but industrial land can be acquired by uh, people from other states. Um, I was talking to you about there's another election that is, of course, the United States. Right now, as I saw the latest figures, it seems Joe Biden is leading significantly. He is on 264 seats, so just six short of reaching 270, while Donald Trump trails him by 50. So it will be an almost impossible figure. Trump will have to win almost all the remaining seats in order to win, which does seem quite improbable right now. So Joe Biden steam does seem to be on the up right now. But there's another angle. Joe Biden's, who's from the Democratic Party, his running mate is Miss Kamala Harris, who is partly of Indian origin. Her father is from the Caribbean nation of Jamaica, is an economics professor from there. Her mother is from Chennai in Tamil Nadu. So, in fact, in Tamil Nadu, there's a particular village where prayers have been read out in her name so that she wins. The whole of the village is praying for her victory. That village is, I'm not sure if I'll be able to pronounce it right, but here is my attempt. It's called Thulasendrapuram. I think I got it right. This is in the Tiruvarur district in Tamil Nadu. So they are obviously all praying because she will bring such massive prestige to otherwise a nondescript place on the global map, to be the second most powerful in the world's most powerful country. Right, moving ahead, I'll go to some of the local pages. Mr. Gopal Rai, who is the Environment Minister of Delhi, holds a very important post because obviously in Delhi the environment has been a matter of concern for several years now. For at least a decade, things have been problematic. So he has spoken out about a cracker-free Diwali. and that is a pledge that Delhi should take. The AQI has worsened. Stubble burnings contribution, though, has reduced. It used to be around, it was till a couple of days back, as per one of the reports, at 40%. Now it is contributing to only 10% of the pollution. The rest is due to local factors. This is as per report by the SUFFER, which is the main monitoring body which looks into this thing, which takes the help of drones and telescopes all over these neighboring states of Haryana, Punjab, Western Uttar Pradesh, Northern Rajasthan. The Delhi University has come up recently came up with its fourth list. So around 5,900 students have been admitted under the Delhi University in this list. So more than 60,000 seats have been filled out of a total 70,000. So there still are vacancies which are likely to be filled over the next couple of weeks. Right. The Delhi High Court has reiterated, they had already announced, but they have reiterated that the details of COVID-19 active patients will not be displayed outside their homes, as was the norm in the first couple of months. So posters will no longer be put up outside the homes. This law was amended actually about a month back, but there were pleas again to restart it. But now the Delhi High Court has um, not accepted that once again. All right. The airport in Delhi, the Indira Gandhi International Airport, meanwhile will be having COVID testing facilities. That is something new. This is only for those who demand that. There is no compulsion anymore, at least not within India, for domestic travel. For international travel, most countries do have these norms. The air bubbles, which are presently on for about a dozen countries like France, Germany, UK, US, and a couple of the Gulf countries. So around a dozen countries in total, that will now be expanded to several more countries, because we are trying to get the economy back on track. So a lot of these countries require compulsory COVID testing. Many people may not have gone through the COVID testing, so that is why DIAL, which is the Delhi International Airport Limited, they have confirmed that this facility has been put up. Patients, however, sorry, the flyers, however, in case of this testing, will need to reach the airport 6 hours prior to their scheduled flight. Usually, I mean, now it's become 3 hours, thanks to the distancing norms. But for those who want to get tested, it's 6 hours back. The city of Gurugram, part of the Delhi NCR in Haryana, they have issued a 13-point advisory for the upcoming festive season. We are actually in between the festive season, with Dashera and Durga Puja having just been finished. But of course, Diwali is upcoming, which is a bigger festival in the north. So that's why a lot of these things been put up. The Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, who also happens to be the Education Minister, Mr. Manish Sisodia, he has meanwhile asked the teachers of the Delhi government schools to get trained in something around coding. Even if they don't themselves, they must encourage the students, whether the students are from science background or something, or not from science, or whether they are in junior school or senior school. That doesn't matter. Coding is something which almost anybody can learn. So in fact, Mr. Sisodia says that it is their plan, the minister, his government's idea, dream, his own personal dream is that Indians will very soon be creating organizations like Google. So coding is something which should be strictly adhered to now. Meanwhile, the Department of Women and Child Development of the Delhi government, which is headed by Cabinet Minister Sri Rajendra Pal Gautam, they have confirmed that from now on, officials need to mark their attendance on WhatsApp. This will reduce the use of paper and reduce the chances of, the touch. So from now on, WhatsApp attendances it will be. The Delhi government has also assured in its discussion with the NRA, or the National Restaurant Association, that from the 7th of which was held, the meeting was held on 7th of October. From now on, any of the new outlets, eateries which will be set up, do not need any government approval. They may just start straight away. This is for eateries of all kinds, no prior permission. They can register after they have opened, like any other businesses. The NGT, or the National Green Tribunal, which is the apex court for all environment related cases, they have asked to look into the construction of drains. Many of the drains in the city of Delhi are wrongly constructed, they are faulty, which is why something needs to be done regarding that as well. Sticking with Delhi, the DMRC, which is the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation, they have installed a U girder, which is sort of like a U-shaped thing. So this is the Phase 4 network of the Delhi Metro. This is on the Janakpuri West to RK Ashram Marg corridor. This is a major milestone confirmed by the spokesperson of the DMRC, Mr. Anuj Dayal. The overall corridor will be worth almost 29 kilometers. It will be an extension of the existing Magenta line, and will comprise of, after this extension, will have a total of 22 stations. The Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Amrinder Singh, who's from the Congress, along with his team of MLAs, will be was supposed to lead a dharna yesterday in New Delhi due to the suspension of goods trains by the railways, also because of the regarding the farm bills which have recently become acts. There has been a ban on use of crackers for Diwali also in Odisha. In addition to Delhi, Odisha government has also banned the same. And if I'm not wrong, I think even West Bengal has banned the same. Sorry, just give me a moment, please. Right. The government of Assam wants a probe by the NIA, which is the National Investigation Agency, into a man's death in Mizoram. There have been some border disputes between the states of Mizoram and Assam, both in the northeast. And so violence has been recorded, which did lead to couple some deaths as well. So that is where the state government wants the central body, the NIA, to look into this. There was actually municipal polls in Rajasthan municipality. Is the third level of polls. Total 6 cities and hundreds of wards were up for the election. So these were in Jaipur, Jodhpur, Kota, Jaipur Heritage, Jodhpur North, and Kota North. These were the 6 constituencies which were up for grabs. Big constituencies in Rajasthan. The Congress dominated, winning 3 of the 6 constituencies. The BJP won the remaining two, and the sixth one was jointly won because it was exact equal number of wards won by both the Congress and the BJP. Some of the other parties also participated, like the BSP, the Rashtriya Lok Dal, the Rashtriya Lok Tantrik Party. Some of them also participated in this overall thing. The Congress candidates registered victory in Jaipur Heritage, Jodhpur North, and Kota North, while the BJP won in Jaipur Greater and Jodhpur South. Kota South was won, as I said, by a joint number of candidates. The state of Maharashtra, we are seeing encouraging signs. More than 7,000 recoveries on a single day was recorded. So I'll talk about the editorial. Just give me a minute, please. I'll just be back from a short bio break. After that, I'll just take a minute, and then I will restart the session. Right. So let us restart the session. Mm, right. So I'm now going to do one of the most important pages, which is the editorial. Right, was just checking something. So one of the articles in the newspaper talks about a fragile French Republic. I think many of you have noticed some of the street violence that has taken place in France, some terrorist attacks. So this has been written by Miss Emile Chabal, who's a reader in history at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. His latest book is France, which is a short introduction to post-war French history. By post-war, we mean the Second World War. So there's a project called Lycete. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's a project of social cohesion and a key component of citizenship, but it cannot by itself fix social and political problems. That's what he speaks about here. There's another really interesting article which is on hitting fossil fuel companies where it hurts them. And this is due to the divestment movement. And this has been written by Ms. Sujata Bairavan, who's a scientist who studies technology, science, and development policy. So she's spoken about how a lot of these oil companies, they're some of the biggest in the world, and how they have basically hijacked the global environmental movement thanks to their massive petrodollars. And she speaks about the massive revenues they all earn. Saudi Arabia's Aramco, for instance, had a revenue worth a staggering $111 billion as of 2019. The Royal Dutch Shell's revenue was around 24 billion US dollars, while ExxonMobil stood at just short of 21 billion US dollars. So these three together, more than 150 billion, and in fact, if we further add, there are more than 160. In fact, if we add others, it will cross an even higher figure. The idea is these are giants. How do you fight them? So her proposal is through divestment, and in fact, she has gone through a historic study of in apartheid South Africa, and how South Africa had to mend its apartheid constitution, bring greater equality, bring democracy. One of the reasons was a mere economic challenge, because without coming out of the apartheid regime, they were going to be economically destroyed. And one of the ways in which it was done was divestment. So initially, when divestment started with these oil companies, by a lot of the environmental activists and by youth groups, initially it was mocked at because it was considered as a trifle, not even a drop in the ocean compared to the massive revenues. However, that is not the case. She's spoken about several organizations. What exactly is divestment? It's about basically buying shares and rendering them useless. You basically do not buy products from these companies over a period of time. So that is one way in which you can actually put in a lot of pressure, lobby a lot of pressure on the oil companies. India also, she feels, needs to do it, although India does not contribute anything that significant to the global carbon emissions, but still India should start, because the overall process is important, because there's a lot of supply as well. Some of the organizations she mentions which are part of this divestment drive involve the World Council of Churches, also pension funds from France and Australia, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Norway, the also the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, the New York City, many UK universities, also some of the US universities such as University of California and the University of Columbia, which have been doing this against companies which do, mine fossil fuels. Also, when one of the companies they targeted the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge for drilling purposes, they received a loan from the Goldman Sachs. So many of these people started doing divestment with Goldman Sachs as well, started boycotting them. One could say it's a bit like cancel culture, different perspective. So as per a 2020 report, banking on climate change by the Rainforest Action Network, which is named after the Paris Agreement of 2015. We are definitely not on course to reduce climate change, and in fact, global temperatures will increase by about 2 degrees Celsius over the next couple of decades, unless these financiers to these companies can be stopped. So money is basically what we need to go against. So some of the leading banks like the Royal Bank of Canada, Barclays, which is in the United Kingdom, the Bank of China, and of course the MUFG in Japan. These are the ones who dominate the scene, right? So these will need to be targeted as per this thing. So that's what she's spoken about. She's also spoken about the corporate and investment bank and the JP Morgan Chase, some of the top investment banking banks which are part of this outcome. There's another article regarding the volatile poll outcomes in the US. This is written by Mr. Narayan Lakshman. So he's spoken about how while Donald Trump seems to be sort of going against the tide, and he's saying that he will sue and that there has been a wrong vote counting. In fact, let's just see the latest on. I think Al Jazeera is pretty reliable when it comes to poll numbers. So let us see if numbers have moved, because last I saw it was 264, 214. It doesn't seem to have risen much. I think it remains at the same. Just another 6 seats Biden requires, as per these reports. So anyway, a study was done by the Brennan Center for Justice, and they're not the only ones. There are others as well who've done it. So the chance of voting fraud in the U.S., as per this study, stands at a mere 0.0004% to 0.0009%. So obviously, it is an extremely minuscule figure. So according to this report, Donald Trump is probably clutching at straws that this is not going to take place. And several of the governors as well of states have reiterated how the polling process was absolutely fair, such as in Michigan. They have pretty well reiterated the same. Coming, coming to India now, there was one report recently on governance by the different states. This was done by the Public Affairs Index 2020. So every year this index is released. The southern states are dominating this index. There were actually three different indicators. One is on equity, another is on growth, and then we have sustainability. And these have further been divided into large states and small states. When it comes to equity, Andhra Pradesh is on top while Uttar Pradesh is on bottom, and among the small states, it's Meghalaya on top, and Delhi is at the bottom when it comes to the equity index, right? Equity as in equality in chances as per your position. Growth index has Kerala on top among the large states. So once again, a state from South India. Kerala is second in equity and first in growth. And once again, Uttar Pradesh is at the bottom, closely followed by Bihar and Odisha. Among the small states, Manipur is at the bottom while Goa is on top. Sustainability index, West Bengal is bottom of the among the large states, while Kerala is once again, yet again on top. West Bengal has done very well in equity at rank 4, also rank 9, middle level in growth, but in sustainability, does the state does lose out at 18th. Among the small states, Goa tops while Uttarakhand is at the bottom. Overall, in the country, if I see, Goa tops among the small states, Manipur is bottom, while Chandigarh is number one among union territories, and Dadra and Nagar Haveli is at the bottom. Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli have been considered separately here, right? Among the large states, it's Kerala, which is rank one. Other southern states, Tamil Nadu is second, Andhra Pradesh third, Karnataka fourth. Chhattisgarh, incidentally, is fifth. It's the highest ranking central or North Indian state, while Telangana is sixth. Uttar Pradesh finds itself bottom of the overall, 18th among the large states. Right. There's an article on the Bihar election and how the Bihar election has this time moved away from the traditional caste arithmetic, though caste remains an emotive point where people are voting. But the political parties, a lot of these parties were earlier known to have specific caste bases. This time they are talking about employment and youth. Youth unemployment does seem to be a major part here. In fact, there's also a similar article written in the Times of India by Ms. Sagarika Ghosh, one of the leading journalists in the country. She has spoken out about how, shall we say, Bihar has also seen a transition from Lalu Prasad Yadav, who has been one of the giants of the political scene in the state for the last couple of decades, to his son Tejasvi Yadav, who's now leading. But Lalu Prasad, of course, was known as a social, shall we say, a champion of social change, while Tejasvi is speaking more about economic wars and economic equality rather than social equality. So that is the new trend in the political scenario in Bihar right now. We are also seeing very good coordination, close coordination among the Mahagathbandhan allies, which is the RJD, Congress, CPI, CPIM, and CPIML, three communist parties. These five of them are seeing close collaboration. In fact, the inclusion of these communist parties, which officially are casteless, does show that there is a, shall we say, conscious appeal to move out of caste based politics by a lot of these um parties. Meanwhile, there's an article on academia and the free will. This has been written by Dr. Jose Chathakulam, who's a director of Center for Rural Management, which is in Kottayam, Kerala. He's spoken about the NEP, or the National Education Policy, and its pros and cons, which are being discussed. He does not go into its details as such, because this article is not about the NEP, but about the free will and freedom of the academia, where he says India fares extremely poorly as per an international index, which is the AFI, the Academic Freedom Index, where India ranks at 0.352 in terms of the score, which is actually pretty near Saudi Arabia's 0.278 and Libya's 0.238. Those two countries, of course, known for its lack of freedom to diversity and in education, but India shockingly ranks pretty close, while the likes of Malaysia, even Pakistan, Brazil, Somalia, even Ukraine have scored much better than India. This has been a massive surprise. The likes of Europe, so surprisingly, usually we see Scandinavian countries or maybe a Switzerland or a New Zealand top index, or maybe a Singapore. This time we are seeing Portugal and Uruguay on top. Portugal is at least from Europe. Uruguay is not even a proper first world country. It's probably somewhere in the middle. But Uruguay and Portugal top this index. While another European country, I've been telling you about how Latvia, Lithuania, these countries are coming up. They're doing pretty well economically of late. Latvia is third. Germany is fourth. That's a big economy at rank four. Um, so he's actually told us the reasons why things are going bad, and there's a lot of political interference in various universities. A lot of the appointments, such as vice chancellor, registrar, or pro vice chancellor, are all political appointments, and so these guys, they often toe the line of their political bosses. The AFI actually has 8 components to evaluate the scores. What are they? Let's take a look. So one is freedom to research and teach. Another is freedom of academic exchange and dissemination. The third is institutional autonomy. So that's about the institute, not the teaching part, but otherwise the institute, probably on pedagogy. You also have cultural expression. Then we have constitutional protection of academic freedom, international legal commitment to academic freedom under the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. That's a long one, a single one. The seventh one is existence of universities, right? So India has done pretty poorly in some of them, like institutional autonomy or campus integrity, freedom of academic and cultural expression. Some of these India hasn't done so well. So he's actually told us a couple of things. He's speaking about the rent-seeking culture, mm, which often pervades academic institutions, and that needs to change massively. He hopes that now with the NEP, these changes will probably, uh, take place. Moving ahead, the state of Kerala is seeing some improvement in terms of COVID positive results. It seems that the graph is flattening. We've celebrated earlier the success of Kerala, then it went back, and lots of cases got detected. So we are not going to jump the gun now. Hopefully, the problems in the state are resolved forever. Only then we shall celebrate. So as of now, things are looking positive. Telangana, meanwhile, has seen the lowest mortality since the month of June in a single day. So, all these are positive signs, but I'll just wait a while before we declare victory. That's a mistake we've probably done once or twice earlier in Delhi as well. So, just be a little cautious. Although nationally numbers have been sort of reducing for some time now. Right, just connecting the charger. Give me a moment, please. Right, it's all right now. The charge page got misplaced. Okay, great. There has also been a Go Electric campaign in Andhra Pradesh for electric cars. 400 charging stations will be established all over Andhra Pradesh as part of this initiative. So, new infrastructure to be set up on this ground. There's an award called the JC Daniel Award which is one of the most prestigious awards for filmmakers. So Mr. Hari Haran has been chosen for this award, this which is given by Kerala government annually, and there's a total of 5 lakh rupee, which is a reward for that. Within Bihar, in the second phase, the district of Muzaffarpur saw the highest turnout at almost 60%, while West Champaran also saw similar figures. Begusarai just slightly less. The lowest turnout was in Patna at less than 50%. Usually, we see that in urban areas. Nalanda saw just marginally more. Um, this is in terms of district, but if I look at individual constituencies, then Chanpatia got the highest at more than 63%, while Digha got the lowest at around 34.5%. Bankipur and Kumhrar just marginally more. There's also an interview of the RJD CM face, which is Mr. Tejasvi Yadav. So that interview can be read in detail, of course. Meanwhile, when it comes to international affairs or national affairs, there's a very important thing that is taking place right now, which is the Malabar exercise, which gets held in South India every year. So the Australian, US, and Japanese vessels have arrived. It's a four-country thing. India, US, and Japan have been members of the Malabar exercise for a few years. This year, the fourth member of the Quad, which includes Australia, has also been included. So all of them, they have started off at Vishakhapatnam off the coastline of Andhra Pradesh on the Bay of Bengal. So some of the Indian ships also participated, such as Ranvijay, Shivalik, Shakti, and Sukanya, as well as Sindhuraj, which is a submarine. There's a couple of US naval ships as well, such as John S. McCain and the Australian naval ship HMAS Ballarat. And Ballarat reminds me, I've been watching this program on Netflix, which is Miss was it Skinner? I can't recall, but yes, that's about a detective fiction set in Melbourne. So one of the episodes is on Ballarat, a train to Ballarat, which is from Melbourne. So HMAS Ballarat. There's also a Japanese self-defense ship, which is the JS Onami. So a couple of missions are being planned in the future as well, and they've already done some of these things to likes of Maldives, Mauritius, Seychelles, Madagascar, and Comoros, and of course more of these are planned in the future. The BLOC, or the Business Line on Campus Boardroom Challenge 2020, is now open for entries. The BJP has increased its tally in the Rajya Sabha, has now reached 92, which is its highest ever, because there are a couple of new people elected. from the state of Uttar Pradesh, where the Samajwadi Party and the BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party, also got one person each. However, the Congress's tally has reduced with retirement of senior leaders from both Uttar Pradesh and in Uttarakhand. One of the newer persons who was appointed is Mr. Hardeep Puri, who is the Union Aviation Minister. There's a very important announcement by one of the ministries in India, which is the Ministry of Women and Child Development. They're going to set up an integrated child development services, which will be part of the midday meal schemes. So that will be set up in 112 districts, although a pilot project which was planned did not really take off due to the lockdown. So most of the states did not respond well to that, but right now they'll straight away go with the main program in 112 of the most backward districts, part of the aspirational districts program. And so there's this scene from Dharwad, which is in Karnataka, and now as part of the midday meal scheme they will receive special rice which is fortified with iron, folic acid, and vitamin B12. So those drops will be fortified in this rice, as that is something very much essential for growing children. The Niti Aayog and the FSSAI, which is the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, will monitor this entire program. Some of the NGOs such as Tata Trust and the World Food Program will also be part of this thing. Moving into the international pages, I've told you about the US elections and how the country is actually bracing up for unrest thanks to some of the remarks by Donald Trump regarding a lack of trust on the election procedure. So there could be some form of an unrest in some period. Meanwhile, both the parties, Republicans and Democrats, are also looking for control of the Senate. A lot of lawsuits have also been filed in the US. Uh, in Thailand as well, there were protests with the democracy, with apparently democracy being suppressed. So Mr. Arnon Nampa, who is the head of this protest, he says these protests will continue. In Sri Lanka, around 120 whales were stranded, and this is a great achievement by the Sri Lankan Navy and the Coast Guard, which together pooled in their resources. They rescued each one of them. This is brilliant. All 120 of them rescued, and they were taken off the beach to the ocean. And this is in stark contrast to the massive failure in Australia a couple of months back when hundreds of whales died during the beaching process. Such a problem did not take place in Sri Lanka. So kudos to the local bodies, especially the MEPA, which is the Marine Environment Protection Authority in charge of this thing. Moving into the Middle East, Qatar, some of you might be aware, records the highest per capita income in the world, one of the world's richest countries. It's a gas and oil rich country, but especially in terms of natural gas, a tiny country which has the fourth largest natural gas reserves in the world. It's emir, it's a monarchy, so it's a single man's rule. He's an emir. His name is Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The Al Thani dynasty has been in charge for several decades now, since independence. So there is a Shura Council for which elections are due. So Qatar, of course, is a monarchy. They never had any elections till they've never had till now. But in 2004, there was a constitutional ruling that elections will be permitted for the Shura Council, which is basically a sort of a senate which helps the emir in ruling. So this Shura Council will look into these considerations, so that elections should be held in next sometime next year in 2021. Right, moving ahead to the business pages. I had given you some good news last month on how exports have actually been rising, and it seems that the economic recovery is well on course. But maybe I had jumped the gun too early. It seems that the economic recovery is very inconsistent, and this month, the month of October, once again saw a decline in exports. In fact, October shipments dipped 5.4%. Even imports slid to 11.5% due to weaker demand. overseas as well as in India. The Commerce and Industry Ministry confirmed this data. So, in fact, the overall imports between April to October stood at $182.29 billion, which is a staggering 36.3%. So, more than a third less than the figure in corresponding figure for the same period in 2019. Merchandise exports in the first 7 months amounted to more than $150 billion, with a 19.1% contraction from the year earlier period. Among the sectors which has floundered is actually one of India's most famous one. It was considered recession proof because it is not a basic commodity, but generally a sort of a luxury, at least a comfort item. But yes, the gems sector has floundered. Yeah, seeing a massive decline. Which are the sectors which have done well? Rice exports have increased dramatically at 112% from the previous month of September. Chemicals by almost 74%. Drugs and pharmaceuticals by about 22%. Transport equipment and petroleum products saw the highest decline at 56.3 and 53.3% respectively. Leather also, gems, as I told you, 21.3%. Leather saw almost a 4% reduction. The Federation of Indian Exporters organization has asked for urgent and immediate action. Its president, Mr. Sharad Kumar Saraf, has attributed the farmers' agitation in some of the states to this decline in the business. The Union Economic Affairs Secretary, who's basically the highest bureaucrat in the Ministry of Commerce and Economic Affairs, Mr. Tarun Bajaj, however, says economy is recovering pretty fast and he expects further improvement in November. Sticking to Mr. Tarun Bajaj, he has confirmed that the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, will be meeting 20 large global investors. So, who are these investors? These are basically investment corporations whose main job is, as you can understand, to invest. They are funding agencies. Among those who will be part of it are two of the leading ones, which is GIC, Gulf Investment Council, and the Mubadala, which is also from the Middle East, if I may understand correctly. There's also CDPQ, CPP Investments, Japan Bank for Investment Corporation. There's also New York Life, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Qatar, which is the QIA, Qatar Investment Authority, also Temasek, and the US International Development Finance Corporation. Lots of first time talks as well. A lot of industrialists will also be part of this digital conclave involving the likes of Mr. Ratan Tata, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, Nandan Nilekani, Dilip Sangvi, Deepak Parekh, and Mr. Uday Kotak. This is a stellar lineup. FDI flows have hit a record high despite the pandemic, rising to 13% to more, rising by 13% to more than $35 billion in these months from April to August, as confirmed by Mr. Bajaj. So this is about FDI inflows, it's not physical trade. The stock exchange in Shanghai, though, has stopped the IPO of Ant Group. Its A share was supposed to come up. IPOs have seen, there have been a lot of IPOs last couple of months, but this one has been stopped. The Punjab National Bank had a loan recast target of around 40,000 crores, but they have reduced it due to practical considerations to 20,000 crore this year. Pharmaceutical sector is doing pretty well. It seems the Sun Pharma's quarter two net profit has leaped by 70% to 1,813 crore rupees. Uh, I think I had told you earlier about the Future Group and its acquisition by the Reliance Industries and the snag it has hit due to a recent claim by Amazon on some of the asset sale. So now the Future Group has filed an affidavit at the High Court. This plea is against the Amazon move. As part of the Atmanirbhar program, with a lot of the Indian companies getting at least a psychological, motivation. One of those Indian companies is Micromax, led by Mr. Rahul Sharma. They are going to return. We generally considered Micromax as out of the market. They, of course, could not really do so well for a long time, but now Yeah, so now they are returning with two new devices. Higher priced models are in the pipeline, which has been declared by Mr. Sharma. This is going to be a webinar on financial challenges, which the Hindu's uh, business line newspaper will conduct. Benz company has begun its AMG production in India for the first time ever. Adani Ports, which is in Gujarat, of course, they have recorded a record profit, which is risen by 32% to 1,394 crores in this quarter, the second quarter profits. Chola Financial Holdings, meanwhile, is suffered a terrible loss of 3.42 crore rupees. Right. As per the ruling on Vodafone's victory against the central government in one of the cases, the government has time till December to make the payments towards Vodafone. Right. Moving into the sports pages, the IPL has now ended up with its business end. It's going to start with the business end of the season. The Kolkata Knight Riders missed out of reaching the knockout stage by a very small margin through net run rate only. The Royal Challengers Bengaluru and the Sunrisers Hyderabad instead took up those places, while the Delhi Capitals finishing second in the table. Mumbai Indians, as has been the trend, topped this year once again. The Kings 11 Punjab, the Chennai Super Kings, and Rajasthan Royals have all been bowled out of this thing. The Sunrisers Hyderabad's surprise victory over the Mumbai Indians, cementing their semi-final uh, position. The women, several of the women players have also now joined in the Middle East for another tournament, which is the couple of teams, the Supernovas, Velocity, and Trailblazers. They'll all be playing the matches in the Middle East. So some of the star female cricketers like Harmanpreet Kaur, Mithali Raj, and Smriti Mandhana have all arrived here. The games will all be held in Sharjah. A couple of foreign players as well from the likes of South Africa, West Indies, and Sri Lanka. Right. Meanwhile, in football, Leicester City is continued impressive form. They defeated Fulham. This year is a very open league because nobody's really dominating. Unlike if you look at the last four seasons, Chelsea ran away with the title in 2017, then Man City twice, and last year Liverpool. This year it's much closer. It's like a dogfight. Anybody can beat anybody. So we are back to the situation a couple of years back. So Fulham defeated West Brom. That was a big victory for Fulham because Fulham, West Brom, both newly promoted sides. I guess both were winless till now. So this was needed. Ola Aina scoring one of the goals, a brilliant goal scored by the Nigerian fullback on loan from FC Torino. He's a former Chelsea player, by the way. He had played youth football for England before he opted to play for his, homeland of Nigeria. Leeds United shockingly lost 4-1 at home to Leicester with goals from Yuri Tillemans, who actually scored a double. Also, Harvey Barnes and Jamie Vardy, the two English forwards, scoring a goal each. In the La Liga, CF Villarreal beat Real Valladolid 2-0. In Serie A, Hellas Verona defeating Benevento 3-1. In the Bundesliga, TSG Hoffenheim lost at home 3-1 to Union Berlin, for whom one of the scorers was actually Mr. Max Kruse, the former Germany international. Zimbabwe did win a one-day international against Pakistan. Only their fifth victory in 62 matches against Pakistan, who won the first two matches. This was won in an exciting super over. Jofra Archer and Ben Stokes and Sam Curran have all been rested from the one-day internationals for South Africa, for England, which is set to play South Africa very soon. Right, a couple of Champions League matches, of course, yesterday. I'll talk to you about them tomorrow when I do tomorrow's newspaper session and today's as well. Right. A shooting center, a high performance shooting center has come up in Bhubaneswar, which is a joint project between the Odisha government, the Aditya Birla Group, and Gagan Narang, who's a former medalist in the various international tournaments, top shooter. Mr. Suresh Menon, who's a regular writer on sports, especially on cricket, he has written this article on how the conditions change for players as they move from bubble to bubble. So right now they are playing in a bubble, and that's how they move. That's how all international and IPL franchisee-based cricket is taking place right now. So a lot of the psychological conditions he has spoken out about. Right, that's pretty much it. As of now, as it stands, Joe Biden still leads. I think it's night right now in US, so I can't see much of updates in the next couple of hours. Very complex, the US presidential style of election. I really don't understand the format, I'll be very honest. I'm happier with the parliamentary, first past the post system. I find it, I mean, I just don't understand the system very well. I'll try to understand better and decode it for all of you. In the meanwhile, this is my code AD09. Please make ultimate use of it. You'll receive a flat 10% off whenever you use this. And I think you know the drill. Do like, share, and subscribe to my sessions. Comment as well. I'm looking for your comments. I'll keep this session open for a couple of minutes more so that in case you have any doubts, you can always get back to me. Tomorrow, I have two sessions for the newspapers. So till then, just follow these. Right, I'll keep it open for a couple of minutes more. And today's as well. If you have any doubts, any queries, any comments, please feel free to type here on the comment section. Right. Let me see if there are any comments. And on that basis, I can see somebody else has joined the session. So if there's something, please feel free, or else I can wrap up the session. Right. So I think we can wrap up for now pretty safely. Thank you so much. Wonderful interacting with all of you. See you all tomorrow for a couple of sessions on YouTube that I'll be conducting. So till then, thank you all, and right, have a great day. Thank